do. And then also make sure you bring a really strong Sporemon. I have Breloom here. This Breloom here is outfitted with Technician, so it powers up Pokemon's weaker moves, for example, which should apply to False Swipe here, which makes it pretty much a one-tap False Swipe, so I highly recommend that. Make sure you bring a lot of repels if you are planning to do the repel trick, and it is totally up to your discretion at the day. But without anything further ado, let's get into the counter right here. Also, a really nice trick too, if you want to get rid of sandstorms, what I recommend doing is saving inside of the Pokemon Center, changing the day for it, and then changing your DS systems, and that will actually get rid of the sandstorm. So we're going to pop a repel real quick. This is on my main finished file, as I was not hunting on this file at this time. I did do a couple phases on this file, but at the end of the day, I did move on to different files because this one was more of a competitive breeding file, and I will go and showcase an encounter real quick. It's actually a pretty fast encounter rate given going into it. So here we have a Skarmory, pretty much first encounter. So it is a 50-50 between Skarmory and Vibrava. It is a really nice repel trick, and the counter speed is not terrible, especially if you have an Illuminate Mon. If you don't have an Illuminate Mon, it may be a little more daunting of a task to finish. I also have this Lantern EV trained as well. You don't necessarily have to go as far as I did. I just like being a little more prepared. It is max HP and max special attack EVs there. That way it can pretty much OHKO anything without failure, pretty much. So, and then we have a non-shiny Vibrava here, and I'll show off it OHKOing as well. And then I'll also be showing off the phase. So phases later in the video as well, after we do the evolution and the phase compilation as well. This hunt is really fun, honestly. At the end of the day, I did have a blast. It took me about 3-ish years and some change. It was a very fun hunt, though. I highly recommend it. If you want something with a decent encounter rate, decent phases, you know, you can get Skorupi, Grumpig, Camerupt, Skarmory, obviously, Driftbloom. Like, you can get a lot of phases here that are all really nice, clean shinies. And obviously, Vibrava being one of those phases, too. That's the intro to this hunt. Make sure to bring a lot of repels, a strong Illuminate Mon if you have one, and a strong Status Mon. You can also use Lilligant, Tangela. Breloom is my personal favorite, as it's pretty strong Pokemon. But yeah, that's pretty much the meat and bones of the hunt, and I will see you guys in the phase compilation, and we'll show off the phases a little bit later. I'll see you then. Bye. Hey yo, let's freaking go. Shiny Skorupi after only 446 random encounters. I believe this is phase 7 if I'm not wrong. Started this hunt back up after like a long hiatus. So yeah, let's get into it. Go ahead and get this all prepped and I'll be right back with you guys. Smoke shiny camera up. Let's freaking go. That's literally 2 in less than an hour. That was like 405 encounters. It was super fast. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing set up and I'll be right back with you guys. Oh sweet, first ball. Let's go. We love to see it, and the Ultra Ball looks great. Run this Shadow from the Future. This came after 851 REs. I was getting this on the way home on the train, so the audio was very bad. So I decided to mute the clip. Just wanted to give you guys that before we get into it. Hey yo, let's go. And there's the Dex entry. We love to see it. Okay, let's go. Phase 11. Shiny camera up after 882 random encounters. I'm gonna get this thing put to sleep, and I'll be right back. Sweet first ball. Shiny Skarmory! Yo! Yo! Oh! Alright. Let's go ahead and put this thing to sleep. That is phase 14 after 15.8k. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing to sleep. Ball swipe. It's actually got another Skarmory though, but Spore. Let's go for Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball here. And I'm probably gonna buy some more bells too. Oh, let's go. Skarmory was caught. Oh, shiny Skarmory! Phase 16 is another Skarmory. Yo, what is good, you guys? This is Shadow, and we just got a phase. Phase for Vibrava. This is phase 16 after 12,382 random encounters. So, without anything further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and catch this. This will be my 15th Skarmory, I think, or something like that. Let's go. Man, this one is super feisty. Alright, let's go ahead and save. But the sanity in my eyes is fading every day I hunt this, so hopefully not too much longer. The fact that I got a fucking 5% Golbat though, over a 30%. Shiny Vibrava! Shiny Vibrava! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out right now! You're fucking lying! You're fucking lying! You're fucking lying! You're fucking lying! You are lying! No way! No fucking way! Okay. I'm gonna fucking record on my phone here for a minute, because that's fucking tight as fuck. Oh, I slapped the fuck out of my leg. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking crap. What the fuck, bro? Yo, what is good, everyone? This is Shadow, and this is fucking finally Shiny Vibrava. That came after 18 phases and a total of 100,070 fucking encounters, dude. That is actually fucking crazy. I've been doing this hunt since probably like 2020. Before that even, and what a fucking time. Finally this repel trick kind of paid off, so we're gonna go ahead and put it to sleep. I am live on stream right now too. I got it fucking live on stream, so I'm gonna record the fucking audio. But I got Shiny Vibrava. So I did that for Flea. Shout out to Flea. If they're here, you know what I'm saying? It's also on my English file, which is kind of sick. You know what I mean? Holy shit. Holy fucking Christ, dude. False swipe, and then we're gonna throw some balls at it. Hello everyone, hello. Sorry, give me one moment. I'm a little hyper focused right now. We got some dust balls. Let's throw some dust balls. I don't have any timer balls on this file, unfortunately, but oh, let me turn up the volume. Yo, get the fuck out. We got it. We fucking got it, bitch. OMG. Hello, Sailor. We are not gonna name it, and I'm gonna fucking save. Okay, I will be right back on the capture card. I'll see y'all in a minute. Hey y'all, Shadow here, Future Shadow here. So I was really hyped in the moment, and I kind of miscounted, so instead of the 100,080 total random encounters, instead it's 93,008 random encounters as a total encounters, and then average per shiny was about 5,471 encounters per. So yep, sorry about that, just hype and miscounted. Oopsie poopsie. Holy shit. We're gonna fucking show it off real quick. Drop your nature guesses. Although, give me a minute. Oh my god, this is a fucked up DS capture card. This one doesn't have a volume slider. Hold on, I gotta fucking tinker. We got everyone. As always, I'm gonna guess fucking serious nature, as it's always my nature guess. Cryptic's probably gonna guess relaxed. You know who else? Also, hey nerd, hey everyone. Oh, I guess is brave. Okay. And drumroll, please. It's lonely. Yo, Silver. Once again, if I missed anything, please feel free to repeat it. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm like all over the place. For context, if you don't know, I've been doing this hunt since November of 2020. So this has been a... No, we won't do another repel. Fuck that. Let's see. Do we get another shiny back to back? Non-shiny Skorupi. Shiny fucking Vibrava, dude. Shiny fucking Vibrava, y'all. That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. Thank you, Circadian. I hope you're doing well. It is so clean. It is so fucking clean, dude. It sucks it wasn't an entire ball, but honestly, that it is what it is. Jesus fucking Christ. Couldn't get away. What? Oh. The crit didn't even fucking matter. That's so disrespectful. Okay, fucking run, bitch. Okay. Alright, y'all. Nuzlocke rules. Nah, we ain't doing no Nuzlocke. Alright, y'all. What the holy fuck, dude. Oh my god. Oh, I love that sound so much. In my god. Dragon Tail. Yeah, let's learn some Dragon Tail. We don't need no Dragon Breath. We got Dragon Tail, bro. Dude, look how fucking sick that is. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking Christ, dude. Sorry. I'm actually so unbelievably happy. I cannot fucking describe it in words. Let's get a fucking encounter real quick, though. Of course, the fucking ad. That's fucking nuts, dude. About say there's no way a boulder fucking outspeeds a Flygon. Dude. One more, just for the sake of. Holy fucking shit. I got some work to do tonight, boys. That's crazy. Alright. Well, there's a fucking era ended. Holy shit, I'm actually tearing up. I'm legit fucking starting to tear up. I'm not even joking right now. That's fucking crazy. Oh my god. That looks so good, dude. That looks so fucking sick. What the fuck? Oh my god.
I went to every Pokemon Center in Japan. Just in case you're not familiar, the Pokemon Center is a chain of stores where you can buy pretty much every type of Pokemon merchandise you can imagine, and a bunch more you never knew existed. In the West, they're pretty much exclusively an online retailer, but in Japan, they have 16 real-life stores located all across the country. And towards the end of last year, I decided to try and visit every single one. Why? Because of a dream. Like a lot of 90s kids, I grew up watching the Pokemon anime, playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Beyblades, and tons of Nintendo games, not really knowing where it all came from until I was a bit older. And that's about when I learned Japan was freaking far from where I was born, so it always kind of felt like an impossible dream that I'd ever get to see it in person. A few years later, I discovered YouTube, eventually created a channel of my own, and now over a decade later, that dream of visiting the birthplace of all my favorite things was finally possible. Taking a look through my content, you might say that having an obsession with Pokemon would be an understatement. So if I was gonna fly halfway across the world to Pokemon's motherland, you bet I was gonna make the most of it. Little did I know the journey would start as soon as we landed in Tokyo.
Oh, I definitely want Clodsire or Tandemaus.
I want Tandemaus. If you get what
Ooh. It's Tandemaus! We got Tandemaus! Oh my god, how do you open them?
Now, any good Pokemon trainer should know that adventuring on your own can be a lonely and potentially dangerous road. Thankfully, I had my partner in life and loving wife Geten join me on this trip, and she actually lived in Japan for 3 years before, which helped a lot when it came to planning stuff. For the first couple weeks, we also had 2 other friends joining us on this journey, so here's the breakdown. As an American tourist, the maximum time you can stay in Japan is 3 months, so of course that's exactly how long we made our trip. The first 2 weeks would be a multi-city tour across the southern parts of Japan, stopping at 4 Pokemon centers along the way. We would then head back to Tokyo where we rented an apartment for the remaining 2.5 months, and from there we could plan our visits to all the rest of the Pokemon centers.
Shinkansen.
The journey to our first Pokemon Center was about a 5-hour ride from Tokyo on the Shinkansen, or bullet train, which in case you've never heard of are super fast trains that'll take you almost anywhere in Japan, reaching a maximum speed of 200 miles per hour, hence their name. But besides for their speed, bullet trains are just as well known for the bento boxes you can purchase at most stations, and I was pretty excited to try my first one. Almost 10 hours later, we arrived in Hiroshima. And as much as I immediately wanted to book it to the Pokemon Center, we didn't travel all the way here just for Pokemon. So after trying out Hiroshima's famous savory pancakes, we actually took a ferry to the nearby island of Miyajima, where I'd get to spend the night at my first ryokan, or traditional Japanese inn. It was really cool being immersed in all this Japanese culture so early in our trip, but what had me smitten the most was definitely the food.
Oh my god, that looks amazing.
The next morning, we head off to explore Miyajima's most famous site, the Itsukushima Shrine, or floating Torii Gate.
It's not till you get really up close that you get a sense of how big this thing actually is. Wow.
If you're interested in seeing more of the non-Pokemon stuff we did in Japan, be sure to check out our vlog channel Slice of Us, where we documented the entire journey in detail. But after the shrine, we took the ferry back to Hiroshima, where it was finally time to visit the first Pokemon Center. Being my first time ever visiting one of these stores, I spent nearly 2 hours exploring and gushing over every single little detail, so I felt like that experience deserved its own video. But I'll share some of the highlights here. So this is the Pokemon Center at Hiroshima, and as you can see, the mascot is shiny Gyarados with Pikachu riding on top. I was hoping to buy at least one exclusive item from each center to sort of prove that I'd been to every single one, and I thought each center had an exclusive Pikachu plushie like dressed up to represent the city, but I couldn't find anything like that. So I didn't see too much exclusive merch inside the store, but here at the outside we have a Pokemon Center Hiroshima coin that you can get. Hoping that every Pokemon Center would have one of these, I decided to try and collect them all. Oh, it's so hot! It felt like we'd done so much already, but our journey was just getting started, and that very same day we took the bullet train to what eventually became my favorite city we visited during this trip, Osaka. There are two Pokemon centers in the city of Osaka, and they happen to be just 20 minutes away from each other by train. So I decided to visit both in the same day, but not before fueling up with another iconic Japanese dish. There seem to be two conflicting origin stories for this delicious omelet with rice, but this Osakan restaurant called Hokusei claims it was first served up right here in 1925. 100 years later, we still don't know exactly who invented it, but I must say, they definitely make the most delicious one. Thankfully, the Pokemon Center was close by, on the 9th floor of a massive indoor mall. And greeting us right as we got off the escalator were the legendary birds of Kanto. This is the Pokemon Center Osaka DX, which I later learned stands for Deluxe, and boy did it live up to that name. Not just in terms of size, but having far more unique items that I hadn't seen at the previous center. Now, you know I'm always trying to find the weirdest merch, and here we have... I actually don't know what the heck this is. Oh! This was for sure the weirdest Pokemon merch I'd seen up to that point, but definitely not the last. This is also where I learned that the popular Sitting Cuties line of plushies actually have a completely different name in Japan. Pokemon Fit. I've heard of Sitting Cuties. Is that what it's called in Japan? Pokemon Fit? Can't say I really get the name, so if any of you guys know, comment below. There was also this awesome holographic screen you could interact with and see Pokédex entries for different Pokemon. And just outside the center, there was even a Pokemon Cafe, which I didn't know you needed to make reservations for, so we didn't get to go. At least not here in Osaka, but more on that later. In the end, I bought this Psyduck plushie purely because of how derpy it looked, and of course we had to get a bag to store all of the stuff that we would eventually end up buying. Thankfully, they also had an exclusive coin here, which makes 2 so far, and just 14 more to go. As I mentioned, there are actually 2 Pokemon centers in Osaka, but at this point we've been traveling non-stop for almost 5 days and my group was feeling pretty tired, so I had to brave the journey to this next one alone. I'm no stranger to walking around my home city by myself, but Japan was a whole nother story, especially when it came to the public transit. Fortunately, most of the signs were also in English, so I was able to make it just fine. Now this is actually the very first Pokemon Center store to ever open in Japan back in 1998. Minor correction, this was actually the second store to ever open, just a few months after the first Tokyo location. But both of them have since relocated, which makes Osaka the oldest Pokemon Center to keep its original name since the Tokyo one rebranded. Ah, here we go. No way, it's Koraidon? No, there had to be something else here. This is the first store. I did a little research, and prior to Sword and Shield, the mascots for this center were Meowth and Pikachu alongside one of the starter Pokemon from whatever the latest generation was. The store itself is kind of crowded, so we're gonna do the intro with my boy Mario, because this Pokemon Center is actually right across from Nintendo Store Osaka. And oh my god, there is a lot to see here. One unique aspect of this store was a whole area dedicated to the Pokemon trading card game, which was admittedly pretty small and empty and just looked kinda sad, but I'm gonna assume on weekends or whenever a new expansion drops, it's more lively. They also had a different line of sleeping plushies that were extremely cute, some apparel items I hadn't seen yet like Gym Leader Grusha's scarf, and some very silly socks with the Pokemon's heads popping out. No. The machine is out of service? Are you kidding me? Well, there is another one, but it doesn't have a special Osaka coin. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta at least see what it was, right? Oh no, come on, that's so cute. F it, dude. I'm gonna get Mewtwo. So far, this was the most packed Pokemon Center I'd seen, likely because I came in the evening when people were out of school and work, so I didn't end up buying too much, but definitely made up for it at the Nintendo store right across the hall. There's a store just for One Piece. I mean, it makes sense. It's the highest selling manga ever. Chopper, what are you doing, bro? You're too rich. After the center, I met back up with the group and somehow still had the energy to go out and explore Dotonbori. I think my camera was dead at this point though, so I didn't get any footage. But the vibes and people here were so chill, and I got to eat takoyaki, which is my favorite Japanese snack, also apparently invented in Osaka. But after 2 centers in a row, even I needed a little break from Pokemon. So for the next few days, we explored some of the other well-known spots in the area, like the peaceful mountain town of Koyasan, where we got to spend the night at a monk temple before heading off to the city of Nara, most famous for its extremely friendly deer. And after that much-needed change of pace, we headed off to the old capital of Japan, Kyoto. I absolutely love the mixture of old and modern in this city. There's like a lot of people walking around with kimonos, and a lot of the buildings kind of look older too, but then you have like right next to it a super modern skyscraper. So I wonder if the Pokemon Center will have a similar vibe, maybe tying new and old. But before checking out the center, we decided to take a scenic walk through the Arashiyama bamboo forest, which was just as beautiful in person as the pictures I'd seen of it, and had a surprise hike that was quite intense but totally worth it because... Do you see this? All for the monkeys. I got to see my favorite animals. I'm gonna feed the monkey a peanut. There you go. He's kind of an anxious one. The view from up here was also absolutely breathtaking, so if you're ever in Kyoto, I would definitely recommend. And after saying goodbye to my new friends, it was finally time for the next Pokemon Center. We're in Pokemon Center, Kyoto. Here we got Pikachu riding Ho-Oh. The Ho-Oh statue is signed by Masuda. And who else? I can't tell whose signature that is. Almost immediately, I noticed a lot of representation from a specific Pokemon region, and that's because Johto is actually based on the real-life region of Kansai, which Kyoto is the capital of. So all over this Pokemon Center, you can spot the starter Pokemon from Johto and this absolutely adorable statue of Pikachu donning a kimono. First time I've seen these.
Oh my gosh, you can't. These are for kids though.
Yeah,
Free
definitely
means,
would not.
Yeah, free means like free.
Oh, it's not free. It's the size
like
is
the size
free.
is free.
Okay. There were a lot more unique items at this center, like these fluffy Hisuian Arcanine hair clips, a Bronzor beauty mirror, and tons of Pokemon earrings and accessories. But I think what took the cake for me were these Pikachu rain boots.
Alright, we got the Galar starter, Zamazenta, and the Kyoto Special, kimono wearing Pikachu. You already know which one we're getting.
As impressed as I was with the special selection here, I only ended up buying this bag of cookies as a snack for the long road still ahead. And this kid's book, mainly because I thought the art was really cute, but also because I was trying to learn some basic Japanese and figured it might help since it's meant for babies.
Now leaving Kyoto. I really like the vibe of this city and the people.
Before heading back to Tokyo, there was just one more little stop we had to make at perhaps the most famous site in Japan, Mount Fuji. This was hands down the most breathtaking part of our trip so far, with a beautiful view of Fujisan right from the private onsen in our room. We also did an air, land, and sea expedition around the mountainside town of Hakone, with my favorite part being this ropeway that totally reminded me of Mount Chimney in Hoenn. And again, you can see more of these incredible experiences on our vlog channel. But with our multi-city journey finally complete, we returned to Tokyo and bid farewell to our friends who had joined us up till now. Kenan and I would of course remain in Tokyo for the next 2.5 months, which meant it was time to lock in, because there's not one, not two, or even three, but 4 Pokemon centers in Tokyo, and 2 more if you count the neighboring cities. And we of course planned on visiting every single one, starting with Shibuya.
Oh my god, this is the scramble. Holy. Today, we're visiting Pokemon Center Shibuya. Here we have Mewtwo.
Not only was this one of my favorite looking Pokemon centers aesthetically, but it also stands out as the only one in the world to have a Pokemon design lab,
where you can essentially make your own Pokemon t-shirt.
Signing up was a little bit confusing without Japanese, but thankfully the machine itself had an English option and gives you 30 minutes to design your shirt, which was more than enough considering the process itself doesn't give as much freedom as you might expect.
They have 695.
Dude, wait, that's not all of that. Oh, there's no Hoenn. No Kalos, Alola, Galar. We got Hisui though. Dude, that's pretty cool. So they have silhouettes for all of these.
Despite being limited to just one Pokemon per shirt, you can still get a lot of variations out of each design, with one template even letting you add multiple stickers in whatever position you want. But no matter which template you go with, you can only choose one Pokemon for your shirt, so naturally I went with my favorite.
Is this how Disney adults feel finding hidden Mickeys? It's pretty cool.
We then had to wait about 30 minutes for our shirts to be printed, so we decided to have a look around the store. And we actually came here on November 1st, literally one day after Halloween, but already the shelves were stockpiled with Christmas stuff. They literally wasted no time. And much like some of the previous Pokemon centers, this one was located on the same floor as a Nintendo store, another Shonen Jump store with the coolest Luffy statue I'd seen so far, and perhaps most uniquely, a Capcom store. And I'm an absolute sucker for Mega Man, so this was a very welcome surprise.
Oh, dude. Mega Man Battle Network? That was my jam.
After that little adventure, we walked back to the Pokemon Center and our shirts were ready.
And boom!
Wow.
Monferno. I went with my favorite Pokemon after all.
Sadly, this store didn't have a coin-making machine at all, but I did get a selfie with Mewtwo, which is arguably cooler. And with our first Pokemon Center in Tokyo down, we decided it was finally time to check out the biggest one in all of Japan next, the Pokemon Mega Center in Ikebukuro.
Dude, look at this Garbodor trash can. Only for combustibles. I mean, I'm pretty combustible.
Located inside the absolutely massive Sunshine City Mall, Ikebukuro's Mega Pokemon Center easily lives up to its name, with a vast display of Pokemon statues greeting you even before entering the store itself. I didn't exactly keep track, but it looked like almost every single starter Pokemon was here, along with an assortment of other random Pokemon, perhaps remnants they decided to bring here from older store displays. But the decor goes beyond just statues, as I spotted Pokeball-themed plants and lamps I definitely want for my future house. Then it was time for the main event, and the mascot for this Pokemon Center was none other than Miraidon. This was by far my favorite display up till now, because of how detailed and almost realistic it looked bursting through the wall. As for the inside of the store, I wasn't able to actually get that much footage, mainly because I felt like the employees there were hovering a lot. I did manage to sneak a clip of this really cool Pokemon camping set though, and some sleepwear items I hadn't seen before. But honestly, the outside areas almost outshine the center itself here, with a bunch more displays and murals to take pictures with, and even a little cafe called Pikachu Sweets that's totally different from the main Pokemon cafe you'll find at the DX centers. Finally, there's a whole separate store called Pokemon Go Labs that I somehow missed when I came here, but seems to have a lot of the same merch, just obviously more Pokemon Go themed. So if you want a picture with the sexiest Pokemon professor, don't miss it like I did.
They have the coin machine here, and there's a special Mega Tokyo Pikachu dressed up as Charizard. Oh. Okay, it's not that hot. We got Pikachu with the Charizard costume.
With those two down, we still had two more Pokemon centers to visit in Tokyo. And next up was the Pokemon Center DX.
Tonight we are in Nihonbashi to visit the Pokemon Cafe.
Hold up, did he just say cafe? I thought we were going to the Pokemon Center. Well, you might remember back at the Osaka DX Center, there was a Pokemon Cafe we didn't get to visit because they have a pretty strict reservation system. Luckily, I was able to book one here at the Tokyo location, and these are the only two Pokemon centers that have these cafes, by the way. So if you want to learn more about how to reserve or even what's inside, I made a full video on my experience at the Pokemon Cafe that I'll link in the description.
I feel so bad.
So after that delicious dinner with Pokemon pals, the Pokemon Center Tokyo DX was just across the hall. However, something seemed to be standing in our way.
He is large and in charge. Now we're gonna charge into the Pokemon Center.
I was surprised to find this center wasn't part of a giant mall like pretty much every other one so far had been, instead having its own dedicated entrance with large murals featuring the 3 types of starter Pokemon. Even more impressive though was the entry hall to the center itself, as it highlighted the entire history of the Pokemon video games from Gen 1 all the way to Alola. I know, they're 2 generations behind now, and I really hope they update it in the future because it's just so cool getting to see the evolution of the series in a physical display. Heck, they should just make an official Pokemon museum. I for one would instantly book a flight back to Japan. As for the store itself though, it was honestly a bit smaller than I expected for it being a DX center. It looks pretty big when you first walk in, but then you realize it's just an optical illusion caused by these floor-to-ceiling mirrors at the ends of each section. And the merch wasn't all that special, minus these very sussy plushies.
This might be the weirdest Pikachu plush I've ever seen. Why is he shaped like Among Us?
Besides for that Pikachu though, I didn't end up buying much since the Pokemon Cafe had its own exclusive merch, and I wanted as much unique stuff as possible, so I decided to save my yen for this awesome coffee cup.
Badge gift.
And that meant there was just one more Pokemon Center left in Tokyo. This whole time my wife kept saying she'd save the best one for last, and I didn't really get why, until I saw him.
Oh my god. No way.
I don't know what to say. It's Rayquaza. It's my favorite legendary. Like, I'm just in awe, looking at, like, marveling at this thing.
But before we get into the center itself, a little bit of context might help. Tokyo Skytree is currently the tallest structure in Japan, and 3rd tallest in the world. At the base of this gargantuan tower is a complex known as Skytree Town, which contains a ton of restaurants and shops, including the Skytree Town Pokemon Center. But finding it among this maze of stores was no easy task, as we kept getting distracted by the many interesting shops around here. My favorite though was by far the Nanoblock store, which if you don't know are kinda like Lego's micro-sized cousins, and they have an official Pokemon line with some pretty awesome looking models.
That looks really hard to put together.
Eventually, we were able to locate the Pokemon Center, and as you saw, I was immediately drawn to the massive Rayquaza bursting out of the ceiling. But then I noticed they had another statue of its Mega Evolution in its shiny form, which I think we can all agree is just the best shiny Pokemon. But the Hoenn fan service didn't stop there, as you could also spot the Hoenn starters throughout the store. And with Ruby Sapphire being the first Pokemon games I grew up with, this store nearly had me in tears. This is insane. Getting to all these statues was kind of rough though, since at least when I went, the store was super packed, and I don't know if their AC was broken, but it was really warm in there, which paired with the amount of people made for a pretty foul smell. But I did manage to snag these amazing limited edition ceramics themed around the Year of the Dragon, and this Gengar hair tie for my wife for doing such an amazing job planning this whole trip so far.
We got Rayquaza.
But as the saying goes, when in Skytree, you gotta go up. I don't think anyone actually says that, but if you're visiting this Pokemon Center, I would definitely recommend going up and seeing the view of Tokyo from up here, particularly in the evening or nighttime.
Whoa. Sugoi.
With Skytree done though, we had finally visited every Pokemon Center in Tokyo. Or had we? Because while technically part of an entirely different city, there is one more Pokemon Center with Tokyo in its name.
So we are in Chiba, which is another prefecture kind of close to Tokyo, about like a 30-minute train ride. This area is also known as Tokyo Bay, at least all the signs around that I'm looking at, but it's not Tokyo, which is weird.
This Pokemon Center is once again located in, you guessed it, an indoor mall called Lalaport. And it took us a while to actually find the center, but once we did...
What happened?
Already the best Pokemon Center we've been to, because...
Why is there so much Tandemaus and a Mousehold merch?
The washi tape, we'll get the stickers, we'll get this, we're gonna get the mugs.
Baby, you can't buy every Mousehold thing.
Yes, we are. Oh,
You cannot buy... You can't buy everything Mousehold. Stop.
This new merch line called Waka de Ika had dropped around the time, featuring Keren's favorite Paldean Pokemon. I didn't really get the name until I did a little research and learned the Japanese names of Mousehold and Tandemaus. Then it all made sense.
She's dying right now. She's literally dying right now.
Please.
Despite what you've seen so far, they didn't just have mouse propaganda at this store. They also had some of the cutest merch for the Paldean starters, cause these weren't just regular plushies, you could actually interact with them.
Oh my goodness! You can pet it on the head.
Quaxley fans stay losing though. There was also a surprising amount of Hisui merch here, like plushies, hand towels, and...
Oh my god, no way. They got the Sass Queen, and it's like bendy arms. Oh my god.
It's hard to describe exactly why, but this Pokemon Center had the chillest vibes of any store so far, which combined with the vast diversity of merch, made Tokyo Bay my favorite shopping experience at any Pokemon Center so far, and likely why I ended up buying a lot more than I expected.
24,655 yen, which is about $165. The most we've spent at any Pokemon Center so far.
With it ending up as one of my favorites, I was surprised to hear this Pokemon Center was actually being remodeled just a few weeks after I left Japan. Luckily, my friend Super Duper Danny got to go to the reopening, and it looks like they only made it better by committing to their nautical theme with a big lighthouse now in the center of the store, and a brand new mascot. Where previously it was just a generic starter trio, now you'll see Ampharos and Meryl all over the store, and it is just so cute. Like, honestly, I want to go back already.
Another point for the Tokyo Bay Pokemon Center, they actually have the metal. They literally have everything at this Pokemon Center.
If you're making the journey all the way to Tokyo Bay, I'd also recommend stopping by this other mall that ended up having my favorite store in all of Japan. But this particular one was no regular book off, and I found some crazy deals on retro Pokemon games here, which inspired me to try collecting all the Game Boy and GBA Pokemon games boxed in Japanese, and I documented that whole adventure in this video. Now, you'd think 5 Pokemon Centers would be enough to satisfy the citizens of Tokyo, but Yokohama really said, nah, I'ma do my own thing. As an islander, I often find myself infatuated with any town or city with a good waterfront, and that's exactly what Yokohama's known for. Despite being just a little over an hour train ride away from Tokyo, it's considered an entirely separate city with its own unique identity and tons of stuff to do and see. So as soon as we arrived, we went for a stroll around the harbor, and somehow ended up at the Cup Noodle Museum, where you can learn the history of one of Japan's most famous brands, and even make your own custom instant ramen peculiar poster. It seemed like the Pokemon Center was already calling back to me. But we decided to end our day with another one of Japan's most famous franchises, and I don't think this video will ever do justice to just how surreal it was seeing this thing in person.
Oh my god.
He's gonna crush us, I'm telling you.
Sadly, I found out this particular Gundam base was permanently closed a few months later, so I guess I should consider myself lucky to be one of the last few people to witness this giant robot's glory. The next day I had just one thing on my mind. On the way there, however, I was drawn in by a store on the previous floor called Surugaya, and if you saw my retro game hunting video, you'll know this store is just as good if not better than Book Off, so of course I decided to pop in.
I never even knew they made a Celebi Game Boy. What? Pokemon Center exclusive.
Anyway, one floor up from Surugaya was the Pokemon Center, and the statue here might just be the most unique, showing off Yokohama's maritime theme with Pikachu wearing a full sailor outfit and posing around a ship wheel, along with some starter Pokemon and the mythical Manaphy. But that's not all, cause this Pokemon Center had a second surprise mascot in Kyogre, just casually hanging out on the ceiling.
Why does Groudon's face look like that? He's terrified.
Weirdly enough, I think this was the first store I'd heard the actual Pokemon Center music from the games playing in the background.
Look at this absolute unit! He's huge!
And for some reason, hearing this tune put me in such a good mood that once again I ended up buying a lot more stuff than I'd intended.
Is this a Mareep for scrubbing your body? What? This might be the weirdest thing.
I'm glad I bought this extra stuff though, because around this time, they started handing out a bonus gift if you spent more than 6,000 yen. The only problem was the gift being a book, and I can't read Japanese. But at least the art looks pretty.
We're gonna get our coin now, which here in Yokohama, we got the Sailor Pikachu. Ta-da!
Having finally visited every Pokemon Center in the greater Tokyo area, for real this time, we decided to take a break from Pikachu and pals. At least in real life, because around this time, the second Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC was coming out, and ya boy had to get to work. So for the next couple of weeks, we stayed put in our Tokyo apartment while I grinded through the Indigo Disc. Pretty much right after came Christmas, which I figured would be quite different in Japan, but I wasn't expecting to be eating a bucket of KFC. I'm not joking, this is actually what a lot of Japanese people do on Christmas. Why? I couldn't tell ya, but it was surprisingly delicious and very different from what I'm used to, so cheers to new experiences. The next week absolutely flew by, and along came the new year, which meant we had just 2 more weeks left in Japan. 2 weeks to visit 6 more Pokemon Centers. Did we really complete this odyssey on time? Was it even worth it in the end? Find out next time on... Just kidding. Here's the plan. First, we travel to Nagoya for just 1 night, then stay in Kanazawa also for 1 night, before returning to Tokyo to rest up for our long journey up north, making a quick stop in Sendai on the way to our final destination, the Sinnoh region. I mean, Hokkaido. The journey to Nagoya wasn't too bad, and we actually arrived so early that the Pokemon Center wasn't even open yet. It was also a bit gloomy, but that didn't stop us from enjoying a walk through Central Park, not to be confused with the one in New York. We were basically just killing time until the center opened, and when it finally did, the first thing I noticed...
Looks like it's a bit small, but you never know what you might find.
Turns out the old saying size doesn't matter rings true, cause they ended up having a pretty good selection of unique items, including a new line of accessories and apparel centered around the move Hyper Beam and the Pokemon that can learn it.
Doesn't seem like there's a special mascot here. We just have Pikachu with Score Bunny and Chikorita.
Ooh, we got a Masuda signature though, as well as, I'm not sure who that is. It's pretty faded.
If any of you guys know, drop it in the comments, but despite its size, this center also featured a Pokemon trading card game area. And with the DLC having recently come out, they finally had some Terrapagos merch, which was admittedly pretty cute.
Got a special medal here too with Litten, which is weird because at the entrance they had Score Bunny and Chikorita, but I guess the medal has Litten.
I ended up buying this sick sling bag that I still wear from time to time, and we also got this super cute umbrella that came in quite handy when it started raining later that night. But once again, we weren't gonna let the weather stop us from exploring, as we decided to head up Nagoya's Tower, officially known as Mirai Tower, a name that might sound familiar to those of you that played Pokemon Violet. Perhaps due to the rain or the fact it was a Tuesday, it was pretty much empty up there, which made for a pretty romantic date we won't soon forget. The next day we actually had a bit of time before our train to Kanazawa, so we decided to check out Nagoya Castle. And I'm so glad we had the time to see it, cause as a kid I always wanted to be a ninja when I grew up, and this was as close as I'd probably ever get to living that fantasy. We maybe spent a little too much time here because I remember having to rush to our train, but thankfully we made it on time and set off to Kanazawa.
So it's very cold and rainy in Kanazawa, and we had a few things planned, but we changed our minds. We're doing tomorrow. So for dinner, we came to get udon because it's cold and I want something warm.
It was in fact so cold that I ended up waking up with a cold. But it wasn't bad enough to stop us from going to the Pokemon Center, which was thankfully right next to the train station, so we could head back home right after.
Who's excited for another Pokemon Center?
As you can see, we were pretty tired, but that would quickly go away as soon as I saw the statue here.
I never would have expected Milotic to be one of the mascot Pokemon.
This was definitely the chillest Pokemon Center so far, and the employees were super nice. One of them even asked if I wanted a picture with Milotic and taught me its Japanese name, Mirokaros. There was also another kimono-donning Pikachu statue here, totally different from the one in Kyoto, and they even had plushies of it. So finally I got a custom Pikachu plush, and I'm really happy it was one representative of Japan as a whole.
This might be the first time in history where Quaxley is the one almost sold out.
This center is also where I found the Knackly Salt Shaker that ended up going kind of viral on Twitter, and still one of the best Pokemon products I think they've ever made. They actually had a lot of cute, unique kitchen and bath stuff, like this little Oshawott plush you can apparently take into the tub with you. And of course, the usual products you'll find at pretty much every Pokemon Center.
Then we got the Kanazawa coin, and wow, that was quick. Another one.
Because of the weather and the long journey scheduled for the next day, we didn't get to explore too much of Kanazawa, but it's definitely a city I want to revisit purely for the vibes and how it beautifully blends the natural and modern sides of Japan.
Corviknight.
After a long rest back at our apartment, we were up bright and early to begin the longest leg of our entire trip so far, and on the fastest bullet train in all of Japan.
We just rode the fastest bullet train in Japan all the way to Sendai for the next Pokemon Center. You might also notice the cozy drip. It's because we're going somewhere very cold. Not yet, but soon. Ah yes, another Pokemon Center, another escalator.
While most Pokemon Centers are named after the city they're located in, this one goes by Tohoku, which is the name of the wider region around Sendai.
There's not like a bigger mascot, so I'm just gonna say he's the mascot of this Pokemon Center. But he's also joined by the usual suspects, Pikachu, and also Grookey, my boy Mojo from the Sword and Shield playthrough.
This was by far the tiniest Pokemon Center of them all. Like, you could literally walk from one side of the store to the other before I even finished this sentence. Okay, maybe it's not that small, but this is literally the only clip I got of it, and you can pretty much see the entire store here.
Got the Victini coin. Any second now. Oh, there's Rowlet in it too. That's cute.
We decided to keep our visit to Sendai quite short, rather than spending the whole day like we usually do. But honestly, I'm glad we did because I didn't realize just how long of a journey it would be to Hokkaido. As you can see, we didn't arrive in Sapporo until nighttime, but I can at least say the wait was well worth it because Hokkaido is known for having its own style of ramen, and it might just be the tastiest ramen I've ever had in my life.
So what would you rate our experience?
Oh, delicious. Just delicious.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
After filling up our tummies, we finally checked into the hotel and pretty much died. The next day we had a full itinerary exploring Sapporo, but our first priority was of course the Pokemon Center. And honestly, it wasn't my favorite. Not like the center itself had anything wrong with it. In fact, it even featured one of my favorite Pokemon as its mascot. But on the day we went, it was absolutely packed to the brim with a line that stretched far outside the store. I can't remember if there was even anything unique, but even if there was, it would not have been worth waiting in that line. I did at least get the commemorative coin though, which at the end of the day is the most important thing anyway.
Oh,
Oh wait, mine's upside down.
that's pretty cute.
Even though the center was a bust, exploring Sapporo more than made up for it. Especially when it started snowing as we made our way to the top of Mount Moiwa, where I got to witness my second favorite view in all of Japan. It was pretty dang cold, but that honestly just added to the charm of visiting Japan's most northern prefecture. But my favorite part of visiting this city was conveniently right across from the hotel we were staying at. Had we not been staying at that hotel, I'm not sure I would have ever discovered this massive multi-floor mall that contained almost exclusively anime figurines and video games. Needless to say, I went absolutely berserk at these stores, even making some questionable purchases, which I feel more than made up for my lack of not buying anything at the Pokemon Center.
Is that a freaking Pokedex? What does it do?
After all that traveling, we could really use some time to rest. But with just one more week in Japan and 2 Pokemon Centers still left to visit, the anxiety was starting to creep in that we might not be able to finish this challenge on time. So for this final trial of our quest, we decided to use our handy dandy HMO2. 1, because it was actually cheaper than a bullet train, and 2, because these were some of the farthest Pokemon Centers from Tokyo, and we had no time to waste. Compared to our flight coming into Japan, there was no English on this domestic airline, so I was a bit scared whenever the pilot made an announcement because I wasn't sure if he was just giving a weather update or we were about to come crashing down. But thankfully we made it just fine to the capital of Kyushu Island, Fukuoka. At this point we had visited the Kanto, Johto, and Sinnoh region's real-life counterparts, but at last we'd get to visit my favorite, Hoenn. Sadly, we didn't have that much time to explore, and similar to Hokkaido, I've heard it's better to rent a car if you want to see more of this area outside just the big city. But during our short time in Fukuoka, we decided to check out the Canal City Mall, where another legendary Nintendo character has a cafe.
There's so much cute stuff in here. I want to order everything, but we're not doing that.
I didn't feel nearly as bad munching into Kirby as I did Eevee. I mean, just look at this little dude. He's practically begging to be eaten. Anyway, on to the Pokemon Center, and once again, it was insanely packed. I don't know if it was a holiday on this weekend, but there was at least a 40-minute line to get in, and I debated just skipping it like back in Sapporo.
With it being this packed, I don't think I'm even gonna bother going in, but we have to get the little coin. And the problem is, the coin is inside. I see it. I see the machine.
2 hours later.
Oh, I've never been so excited for one of these. It made me work for this one, but we got it.
Again, not the Pokemon Center's fault, but because it was so crowded, this was not the most enjoyable shopping experience, but I did notice one interesting product.
Why do they got Mewtwo shooting discs out of his...
Also, the statue here wasn't the most interesting, so happy to have at least gotten the coin, we head back to our hotel and began preparing for the final chapter of our adventure. Separated by almost 400 miles of ocean from the rest of Japan is the subtropical island of Okinawa. There is a ferry you can take here, but it literally takes an entire day and we had no time to waste. So once again, we decided to fly.
So we dropped off our luggage. I got rid of my jacket too because it's actually pretty hot here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hot, but it's warm.
I was actually starting to sweat, so I guess for me it was hot.
Okinawa's airport is on the island's biggest city of Naha, but the Pokemon Center was about an hour away by bus. Thankfully, we arrived pretty early, so before heading out, we decided to explore Naha's famous Kokusai-dori Street. This area reminded me a lot of the more touristy parts of Puerto Rico, combined with a little bit of Miami and maybe some Hollywood sprinkled in there. But I was most surprised to find this 7-Eleven with Pokemon plastered all over it. So of course, I had to find out what this was all about.
Oh, this is cute. Look at the little footsteps. Oh, I see.
I mean, there's something, but it's not
Yeah,
anything.
it's a photo shoot spot.
And after feeling my Todd Snap fantasy, we had worked up an appetite and decided to get an Okinawa special. Spam?
So I guess Okinawa likes spam? We got this spam onigiri basically. Well, it's open onigiri.
It's called musubi.
I didn't know that. But it's freaking delicious.
Remember when it said buses to the Pokemon Center supposedly come every 9 minutes? That was a complete lie, because we waited over an hour not knowing if this thing would even show up at all. But just when we were about to give up hope, our savior arrived and took us all the way to the Aeon Mall.
After almost an hour and a half, we made it to the Aeon Mall in Okinawa, which is where the Okinawa Pokemon Center is. So it's pretty far from the airport, but we're finally almost done. Oh my god.
We only had 1 hour until the bus back to our hotel arrived, so my wife went to get some food and I of course went to find the Pokemon Center. But this mall was absolutely massive, so that was a lot easier said than done.
Alright, well I think it's safe to say I found the Pokemon Center. Oh my god, what is going on there? What is going on? Goodbye, Pikachu.
Now that I've seen them all, I can genuinely say this is the most original and unique Pokemon Center of them all, with so much Okinawa-specific merchandise and decorations all over the store. And they also have the best entrance of any center, with the Pokemon logo being fully animated and the Arcanine statue having this fuzzy texture on it that made it look almost alive. This is actually the newest Pokemon Center to be built in Japan, so the fact that it felt the most modern and clean makes a lot of sense.
We did it, guys. Every single Pokemon Center in Japan. This has been the craziest journey I've ever embarked on in my life, probably. Coming to a different country and going all across it for Pokemon, for freaking Executor, bro.
Having finally completed our 3-month-long odyssey across Japan, part of me just wanted to stay at this Pokemon Center forever. But of course, there was just one more thing left to do.
There's a board here that says touch a fit you find interesting. I mean, I've been looking for Trico literally at every single Pokemon Center. I've never seen a Trico sitting plushie. That's the one right there. Check it out at Pokemon Center. Oh, I'm never gonna get my Trico.
Actually, I meant the commemorative coin, but turns out this store didn't have that either. So after coming all this way, we couldn't even complete our collection. I guess this Arcanine plush will have to make up for it. But the journey wasn't quite over yet, because we were almost 1,000 miles away from Tokyo, so we hopped on another long bus ride, saw a whale shark in real life, and a surprise Pikachu at the aquarium, Then came all the way back to Naha, where we stumbled upon a Pokemon themed train. Seriously, does Okinawa just get all the coolest Pokemon stuff? And finally, we flew back to Tokyo.
And so ends our Okinawa adventure.
That was long.
Yeah.
When I first came up with the idea for this video, I wanted to challenge myself to do something I hadn't seen many others attempt. But in the end, going to every Pokemon Center was just the motivator to get out there and see more of this amazing world. Throughout this adventure, we ended up taking trains, planes, boats, and buses all across Japan, getting to see so many famous sights along the way, and let's not forget all the delicious food I ate. In other words, this trip was never just about the destination, it was about the journey. So would I recommend anyone else to try and visit every single Pokemon Center? Absolutely. As long as the stores themselves aren't your only goal, because there's so much more to see in every city we visited. And this was an experience I'll truly never forget. I'm struggling to find the words to end this video. Like, I just don't want it to end, to be honest. But there's not really much else to say. So thank you guys so much for watching and joining me on this adventure. And who knows, next time we might just visit every Pokemon Center in the world.
I went to the 2024 World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii, and besides watching the top players duke it out, meeting up with amazing fellow content creator friends, and meeting fans of the channel, there was another reason I was here. This is Olivia, also known as a box of Timbits, and she is hands down one of the strongest trainers in the Pokemon Ribbons Discord. As a competitor, Timbit was allowed to give me a 3-day spectator pass for the event, and with my ticket secured, I wanted to find a way to do something really cool for the biggest tournament of the season. One practice that has really ramped up since the introduction of titles in Generation 8 is bringing Pokemon with really cool ribbons to events. So I asked Timbit if she would allow me to collect every ribbon on one of her Pokemon for her to bring to the highest battlefield of competitive play. Before we dig into this challenge, consider subscribing and liking this video. It'll help out a lot towards bringing you cool projects like this in the future. I hope to attend Worlds 2025 in Anaheim as a creator, so let's see if we can hit 100,000 subscribers by this time next year. Of course, the best place to start is figuring out which Pokemon are even potentially worth bringing to a World Champion level event. The high power of the Regulation G format gravitates heavily around restricted Pokemon like Calyrex and Miraidon, and as power creep tends to centralize around recent Pokemon, that means the most powerful Pokemon in these formats also can't earn very many ribbons. We do have a bit of a lucky break though, as one Pokemon exists as far back as Generation 2, but received an extremely viable evolution in Paldea, Girafarig. Its evolution Farigiraf is bulky, only has 2 weaknesses to Bug and Dark, and its pseudo-signature ability Armor Tail blocks any enemy moves with increased priority from connecting with Farigiraf or its partner, which is a huge deal in a metagame where priority moves are all but guaranteed with the likes of Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Tornadus on almost every team. So to get as many ribbons as possible in Generation 9, let's head all the way back over 20 years to Generation 3. Now across all 7 Generation 3 games, Girafarig appears in a whopping 1 location, Hoenn's Safari Zone. Some of you might have heard that and immediately thought I was mad to try and shiny hunt a Girafarig here, especially on a time crunch. Not to mention that a Pokemon weak to Dark like Farigiraf really wants to have as low of an attack stat as possible in order to minimize damage from foul play, and to a lesser extent, self-inflicted damage from confusion. Hunting a shiny zero attack Pokemon traditionally here would take so long we'd be well into the next worlds before I had the faintest hope of finding it, so we're gonna get the game to give us the encounter we're looking for instead. Computers are, relatively speaking, pretty bad at making truly random numbers. In order to simulate randomness, it's a common practice to take something that's usually random, like the time you started up the game, and then just constantly do some math on that starting value, or seed, to make new values. This is why it's actually a good thing that we're here in the earliest possible Pokemon games, as Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald are arguably the worst at it in the entire series. Famously, Pokemon Emerald always starts with the same initial seed of 0 due to an oversight, and similarly, any copy of Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire will always start with the same seed if the internal battery has dried up. This is why you'll see shiny hunters restart their Emerald save file after a while of hunting the starters via soft resetting. If you do encounters on the exact same frame with the same starting conditions every time, you'll end up with the same exact starter over and over again. And if you're encountering the same exact Pokemon over and over, it won't be shiny unless you have a trainer ID and secret ID that makes it so. We can apply the same idea here. We know we want a shiny Girafarig with a 0 attack IV. Using a program called Pokefinder, which simulates the same math the game uses for its randomness, we can see exactly which frames will produce a 0 attack Girafarig encounter and find out which trainer ID and secret ID combinations happen on each frame we could start the game. I decided to pick out a trainer ID that forms a palindrome being the same number forwards and backwards, since that felt thematically appropriate for Farigiraf. After power leveling our starter to sweep through the game up to the Safari Zone, we can use the move Sweet Scent to start a wild encounter on a specific frame that we know for certain will contain a shiny 0 attack Girafarig. This is actually my second go around at this RNG manipulation. The previous one, while it did result in a shiny Girafarig, due to some complicated behind the scenes shenanigans while generating the encounter, the game ended up tossing out the 0 attack IV roll and generating a new one, which I only realized hours later midway up Mount Battle. Skipping through another playthrough, once we have the correct Girafarig in front of us, the last hurdle is how we're going to catch it in a place infamous for having Pokemon flee from you mid-battle. Turns out in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, you can influence the flee rate of wild Safari Pokemon by throwing Pokeblocks, the efficacy of which depends on which flavors the Pokemon likes. Since we know this is a docile Girafarig, it has no liked or disliked flavors, and because of this, when we throw a Pokeblock, Girafarig will become curious about it every time. This means once we throw our first block, its flee factor will reduce from 15% to exactly 0%, making it so it won't run away on any of the subsequent turns. If you're curious about how this trick works in detail, Professor Rex has a whole video about it that I'll link in the description. But after catching her in a single Safari Ball, it's time for Bond's ribbon journey to begin. First up is the Hoenn Battle Tower. I basically have a Ruby save file set up just for taking on the Battle Tower for the winning and victory ribbons using Latios and Metagross. For a little more consistency, I have this Metagross that I used RNG manipulation to get Hidden Power Steel rather than Meteor Mash as its steel attacking option. As over enough battles, eventually having a move with less than 100 accuracy will find some way to bite you at the worst possible moment. Other than that, all we have to do is remember to use Bon as a way to pivot between our two main party members. I'll never get tired of watching NPC trainers using Explosion and KOing an underleveled Ribbon Pokemon instead of our Latios. With our win streaks well above 56 at this point, it only takes 14 battles to get our first pair of ribbons. For Pokemon contests, I prefer to use this set of 6 4-player blends developed by Sadistic Mystic. I prefer this recipe almost entirely because I can trade a full party holding all 6 berries to each of the 4 cartridges, then do one session at the Pokéblock blender to max out the contest stats of a single Pokemon. With our contest stats as high as we can get them, for our contest move I went with an old classic, Rest and Snore. Rest is TM44 in generations 1 through 7 and is renewable via pickup in Emerald, while Snore costs 24 BP in the Move Tutor house next to Emerald's Battle Dome. This combo is not only nice because Rest gives you a one-time shield from jamming every other turn, but also because following up with an 8-heart Snore means you average 5 hearts per turn, or 6 hearts average if you're in a cute contest. It's also a highly recommended combo when you consider that only 13 species in Generation 3 are unable to learn these two moves. Fun fact, in Generation 4, Snore is still a tutor move, but it's also a transfer-only move for Pokemon like Delibird and Spinarak. As though it can still be taught via tutor in Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, all Pokemon that can potentially have sleep-preventing abilities like Insomnia or Vital Spirit are prevented from learning it in these games. On the topic of exclusive tutor moves, once we've trounced all 20 contests and taken their ribbons, as well as received the Artist Ribbon for our dominant performance in a Master Rank contest and placing Bond's painting in Lilycove Museum, we no longer need to keep Rest or Snore for the remaining contests in the series. Because of this, I figured we could do something to make Bond even rarer than other Generation 3 Girafarig. When you send a Pokemon to Pokemon Home, its current moveset is preserved in its Bank and Sword and Shield data, but not in any other games. Normally I would just wipe the Pokemon's current moveset manually in order to allow it on the Sword and Shield rank ladder, but Girafarig can't go to Galar, so its moveset from Pokemon Bank will still be viewable in the mobile version of Home, but essentially unchangeable. To this end, because the moveset will still be viewable, I decided to teach her 4 moves that she could only have in her Bank moveset if she learns them here in Generation 3. Body Slam and Double Edge are 2 Gen 3 tutor moves that are weirdly absent from Girafarig's moveset all the way until Generation 9. Mimic is a tutor only available in Generation 3, and finally Nightmare is a tutor only found specifically in XD Gale of Darkness. Speaking of which, after trouncing the Hoenn Elite Four to acquire the Champion Ribbon, we're off to take on the final challenge of the generation, Mount Battle. Mount Battle is pretty much just a big time sink. If you have Pokemon capable of beating the level 100 Battle Tower, you have Pokemon capable of beating the entirety of Mount Battle. For a long while, I've been using this pair of level 100 Kyogre with Water Spout, Thunder, Ice Beam, and Ancient Power. That 4th slot is purely to hit Shedinja, as it's either that or Rock Tomb for Kyogre to hit through Wonder Guard. This team takes me about 3 hours to earn the Earth Ribbon from floor 1 to 100 in one sitting. It's highly unlikely that this is the fastest team considering you have to go through the rain animation every turn, but it gets the job done. After defeating Battlemaster Batliss, we receive our Earth Ribbon and have all the ribbons we need to grab from Generation 3. Moving Bon up to Generation 4, the one downside to having a gimmicky tutor-only moveset suddenly presents itself. Turns out most of these moves are deeply medium in Sinnoh's Super Contests. Having a middling moveset is a lot less of an issue in Generation 4 compared to Generation 3, however. And so through a combination of our high visual score and mastery of the dance portion, we have little issue grabbing another 20 contest ribbons. A nice tip for the dance minigame is that while you're the lead dancer, your opponents can only score points if they copy what you do. And since there's no penalty for the lead dancer not making a move, if you know you're in the lead when you become the lead dancer, it's optimal just to not move at all. It won't earn you any points, but it won't matter as if you're already in first, it will also prevent your opponents from narrowing your lead. After a brief vacation in Johto to pick up the Legend Ribbon from Red, we're off to the most grueling part of Generation 4, the 6 Battle Tower ribbons. While it's still very much optional due to the official servers being down for well over a decade, the World Ability Ribbon is the easiest it's ever been with the safe room we set up in Room 2 in a previous video. For the Double and Pair Ability Ribbon, I've been finding lots of success with a Trick Room Bronzong team, using a level 2 Togetic with the moveset Protect, Endeavor, Follow Me, and Encore, alongside a Bronzong with Trick Room, Earthquake, Explosion, and Iron Head. By dangling a low-level Pokemon in front of the AI, the idea of a free KO causes them to focus down Togetic and allow for an almost guaranteed turn to set up Trick Room. From there, using Endeavor with Togetic allows for Bronzong to pick up KOs while the AI continues to target down your level 2 Pokemon. Once Togetic finally goes down, Iron Ball Machamp comes in to clean up with Fling and No Guard dynamic punches and Stone Edges. This team has been extremely consistent for me, making the double ability ribbon and pair ability ribbon relatively easy to acquire. For the ability and great ability ribbon, unfortunately things aren't quite as exploitable, but the classic Dragon Steel Water team still serves us quite well. Garchomp, Metagross, and Suicune fill their respective roles perfectly, with Garchomp often sweeping entire teams after a Swords Dance with Earthquake and Outrage. Metagross and Suicune beat the ice types that threaten Garchomp, with Suicune using its pressure ability and substitute to stall out the dreaded one-hit KO move users that are often the bane of long tower streaks. During the 15 to 21 sets and the 43 to 49 sets that award us our ribbons, we dropped Metagross for Bond, who I decided to train in speed and attack on the very unlikely chance that she has to come in and actually use Double Edge, hopefully outspeeding and doing as much damage as possible. And while grinding up to level 50 against these two rich trainers outside the Pokemon Mansion, I managed to collect enough money for the Gorgeous, Royal, and Gorgeous Royal ribbons, saving us the hassle in a future generation. Fortunately, both of our Palmer fights go perfectly, with Garchomp setting up Swords Dance before cleanly demolishing both of his teams and earning us the Ability Ribbon at 21 wins and the Great Ability Ribbon at 49. The last ribbon here is the Multi-Ability Ribbon, often considered the most difficult of the set due to the reliance on an NPC partner. For the most part, the same ideas as the Double Ability Ribbon can be applied here, but not having control over half your team can make this ribbon truly a slog. While you can scout for the perfect teammates by skipping the date forward and losing in a separate tower, I often just picked whichever partner had the best synergy with my two Earthquake users, Garchomp and Metagross. Occasionally, if one of my partners had a Trick Room user as their first Pokemon, I would switch over to Togetic and Machamp. This did work quite well, but those were few and far between. After a few promising streaks ended in failure and a nail-biting double-team mirror match between Cheryl and an AI opponent, we managed to just barely skate across the finish line with Bon in tow, collecting our last ribbon for the Battle Memory ribbon and our last ribbon of Generation 4. During our pit stop in Generation 5, we can also get the Movie Star status, which is ultimately not transferred over but is extremely easy to acquire during the film Red Fog of Terror 1, which only requires the player and the opponent to survive to the end of the battle. You can either have a Pokemon that spams Protect and Substitute, is too bulky for the opponent to KO, or if you're using a normal type, you can make the wrong dialogue choice, which will cause the creature to become enraged and use Shadow Claw every turn, which completely fails against Bon. Arriving in Omega Ruby, this is my favorite generation to grab the 7 daily ribbons from Ribbon Bell here in Mauville City. I've waxed on in other videos about how lenient she is with these compared to every other game they appear in, but basically she's the only one who hands out this set of ribbons who not only gives you as many as you want per day, but also has zero problem with changing the clock to get them all in one sitting. Much more preferable to the strict systems found in XY and BDSP where missing a single ribbon means another week of waiting. Since we EV trained Bon earlier, the training ribbon is a simple matter of taking out all 30 super training regimens one by one. Maxing out our attack and speed in Generation 4 serves us well here for allowing easy dodges and as much damage as possible to the Balloon Bot. This is unfortunately one of those ribbons that beyond putting your EVs towards the right stats is just pure practice, and at this point only the last few regimens give me any trouble. Fun fact, if you get hit at all versus the Hydreigon balloon, it will do 9,999 damage and completely reset your score. It's the only balloon to do this, and it's not even the final one. Just a very strange quirk of one specific phase of one specific regiment. After stopping by to get our champion ribbons from the Kalos and Hoenn leagues, it's finally time to take on the Battle Mason. The regular battles are no match for our Meowstic, Terrakion, and Whimsicott team, using Gravity and Beat Up to boost Terrakion to +6 attack turn 1 and decimate opposing teams with Rock Slide. The super battles are still quite a bit easier with this team, but they can be a slog if Terrakion is taken out by fast psychic types and the team starts to fall apart. I would honestly say the final battle against Shadowlane Dana is much easier than the battles leading up to it, as Dana's team contains 4 Pokemon weak to Rock, 2 of which are 4X weaknesses, and her final 2 Pokemon are weak to Earthquake and Sacred Sword. Bringing Bon to Battle 20 and Battle 50 in each format, with our Skillful and Expert Battler ribbons we can ship off to the Alola region. Alola can be one of the shortest regions to get through when ribboning, so long as you plan accordingly for the battle tree. Before we get there though, we can pick up the Alola Champion ribbon on Mount Lanakila, the Battle Royal Master ribbon at the Dome after scoring a whopping 5 KOs and surviving with 1 HP on our last Pokemon, and the Best Friends ribbon in Melee City's Community Center after feeding Bond 2 Rainbow Beans and 1 Pattern Bean. For the Battle Tree Great ribbon, you could quite literally bring a single decent attacking Pokemon at level 100 and then just press A until you clear all the way to Red or Blue. It's the easiest Battle Facility ribbon so long as you're playing Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. For the Battle Tree Master ribbon, I've been using a very similar concept to the Togetic Bronzong team from Generation 4 with Aron and Aromatisse. With the Sturdy ability being buffed in Generation 5, our item slot has been freed up to allow us to carry a Berry Juice and survive an additional hit. Berry Juice, funnily enough, is technically more optimal than an Oron Berry, even though they serve the same purpose due to the existence of the Unnerve ability in the moves Bug Bite, Pluck, and Incinerate. Once Aromatisse sets up Trick Room, Aron can begin tearing through opposing Pokemon with Endeavor, while Aromatisse cleans up with Dazzling Gleam. Having a spread move makes Aromatisse a nice Trick Room setter for this purpose, and its healer ability has a chance to cure Burn and Paralysis on Aron at the end of each turn. Once we make it up to Blue, Aron and Aromatisse tear through the front half of his team, allowing Bond to pop out and stare at his remaining Mega Pidgeot until it faints from the sheer power emanating from Girafarig, awarding us our final ribbon of the Alola region. Heading into the Switch era, we have a few ribbons we need to grab before we can evolve Bond into Farigiraf, as doing so will ban them from entering Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. This doesn't mean we can't touch Paldea, however, so after feeding her enough EXP candy to reach level 100, we can head to Sinnoh and earn the Footprint ribbon for leveling up 30 times from our level 50 Met level set back in Generation 5. The Sinnoh Champion ribbon is still extremely easy, and gives us a powerful champion sticker to use in the contests. Unfortunately, Girafarig doesn't actually learn Giga Impact, my go-to contest move for this generation despite being a fully evolved Pokemon in this game. So we'll have to go with Facade, which scores just slightly less than Giga Impact. The TM system in BDSP is kind of a mess, but we can bypass it by teaching the move in Scarlet and Violet and using Home's ability to retain moves learned between games. With our contest loadout settled, we can snag all 5 Master Rank ribbons and the contest Star ribbon that we passed over in Generation 6, and finally win a Twinkling Star ribbon in the Shining contest. Last up, we have the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl version of the Tower Master ribbon, which despite having collected every ribbon on multiple Pokemon in this channel has managed to evade discussion up until this point. This ribbon is the exact same as the one found in Galar, so if your Ribbon Master has access to that region, it's infinitely easier to grab it there. But if your Pokemon isn't around in Sword and Shield, strap in. The first thing to note is the mode where you obtain this ribbon isn't even available from the start. You might think it replaced the Great Ability ribbon for defeating Palmer at Battle 49, but that's actually only the beginning of earning this ribbon. Once you've reached a streak of 49 in the singles or doubles mode of the tower, you unlock a new mode called Masterclass, which is more like a replacement for the Wi-Fi tower of all things. In this mode, you can either do singles or doubles, but weirdly, doubles is actually a 2 vs 1 multi-battle format, which is very unusual for a battle facility like this. This actually works to our advantage though, as if we KO 2 Pokemon belonging to one opponent, the rest of the match turns into a 2v1 in our favor. What's even stranger is this mode uses the same ranking system as the World Ability ribbon. When the player wins a set of 7 battles, their rank will increase. Battle 7 of each set will also be against named trainers, each of whom will be consistent in each rank across attempts, though their Pokemon and moves may change. Also lifted from the Wi-Fi tower is the fact that if the player loses multiple times in a row without winning and ranking up, their rank will drop by 1, with the number of losses required decreasing to a minimum of 1 loss at the top rank of 10. Speaking of, the final trainer of rank 10 will always be Palmer, teaming up with his son and the player's rival in the double battle mode, which is just pure nepotism. Defeating Palmer here will award your team the Tower Master ribbon and keep you in rank 10, which means once you've scaled your way up to the top, you only need 7 battles to get the ribbon. Fewer than Galar, but the restrictions on Pokemon and the initial effort to get here makes it much more grueling. So now that we know the structure of the tower, who will be our team to the top? Unsurprisingly, it's another cheesy Trick Room doubles team, but with a strange Pokemon you might not even realize was on the table, level 1 Donphan. Donphan is just like Aron in all the ways that matter. It gets access to the Sturdy ability to absorb a single hit from full HP, it learns the move Endeavor to slash the opponent's HP, and it even has the same immunity to Sandstorm that Aron enjoyed, though losing its Steel typing does open yourself up to poison. The big advantage Donphan has over Aron, however, is access to an attack with increased priority, Ice Shard. This means that if Donphan is facing an opponent that's had its HP cut down to 1 with Endeavor, Ice Shard can pick up the knockout even with the massive level difference, as attacks will always deal at least 1 damage if the opponent isn't immune. This is a niche option admittedly, and some of you might be wondering how this Donphan even exists. Turns out Pokemon Go of all games enables this low-level shenaniganery. Pokemon Go operates on a level system that roughly maps out from level 1 to 50 in the mainline series. And unlike mainline, Pokemon who normally require leveling up to evolve only require an amount of their evolution line's candy and will stay the same level between evolutions. This means that if you find a Phanpy with a CP of about 10 to 15 and evolve it into Donphan, it will become a level 1 Donphan when moved into the Nintendo Switch games. The last piece of the puzzle is getting egg moves onto a Pokemon that wasn't hatched from an egg. Turns out in Generation 8, if you put 2 of the same species of Pokemon in the nursery in Galar or Sinnoh and one of them has an empty move slot, they can learn egg moves from the other Pokemon. Since Scarlet and Violet released, however, there's a much simpler option by having Donphan hold a Mirror Herb with empty move slots during a picnic with any other Pokemon that knows Ice Shard or Endeavor in attendance. As soon as you enter the picnic, the egg move will be copied over to the Pokemon holding the Mirror Herb, at which point we can retain it when going back to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl through Pokemon Home. With our main sweeper set up, the rest of the team fully leans into the Trick Room dynamic. Dusknoir is our bulky Trick Room setter with Aromatisse gone and no Eviolite for Dusclops, with Drought Torkoal and Guts Hariyama shoring up the backline with extremely hard-hitting attacks under Trick Room. Fighting through Master Class, we can use the same 4 until just before Battle 5 of Rank 10. For some reason, you can take a break and switch your team around right up until this 5th battle. So after our 4th win, we swap out Torkoal and put in Girafarig to claim our final Generation 8 ribbon, the Tower Master ribbon. Finally sure that we have nothing left in Generation 8, we can evolve Bon into Farigiraf by teaching her the signature move Twin Beam. Since Sword and Shield, you can evolve a Pokemon that evolves via level up even at level 100 by using a rare candy while they meet their evolution criteria. After evolving, clearing and retooling our EVs with Fresh Start Mochi, changing her Terra type, and finally teaching her all the moves she'll need for Worlds, we can go to obtain our final ribbons. The Gourmand Mark is unsurprisingly still the easiest of the bunch. Just set yourself up in front of a food stall and press A until it appears. The Paldea Champion ribbon is similarly just as easy as the previous Champion ribbon, though if you've completed the entire DLC, the teams are leveled up a bit compared to the base game. A Choice Specs Terrapagos with max speed and special attack, however, can beat every single team with little issue using Terra Starstorm every turn. With the tournament destroyed by a single turtle, we can turn our attention to the other 2 earnable marks. These ones are random like the Gourmand Mark, but are unfortunately both rarer and have harder reward conditions than simply eating whatever food's in front of you. The Item Finder mark isn't too bad, as picking up items happens decently quickly in areas like the Paradise Barrens, but the 1 in 100 chance to actually earn the mark can take its sweet time to actually trigger. The Partner mark is by far the worst of the 3 to actually intentionally obtain, though I will say I was pleasantly surprised when my Necrozma managed to get it before the Item Finder mark, so there's no accounting for just being very, very lucky. But for those who don't pick it up naturally, there's always a few nights spent in Cortondo's Olive Roll field. But our final ribbon is the one I dread the most, the Master Rank ribbon. As established, Girafarig doesn't appear in Sword and Shield, so we have to grab this ribbon here. I started by climbing up the first few ranks with a janky Petal Blizzard Florges team, but after we reached Pokeball tier, I grabbed a rental team and actually began the climb up through the ladder. I say I climbed the ladder here, but in reality I was basically just playing based on what Timbit told me to do. Sometimes it's nice to have a World Championship level trainer on your side of the field who can point out things like, don't protect with Calyrex Shadow in front of Urshifu. But with her help after 10 hours of ranked battles, Bon the Farigiraf claims her 90th and final ribbon and the title of Ribbon Master. As for the World Championships itself, while I'd love to say Bon and Timbit became the 2024 World Champions, it unfortunately wasn't meant to be. Though I did hear from Timbit after the tournament that Bon performed admirably. And honestly, I'm just proud to say that I helped bring a Girafarig across 9 games, 7 generations of Pokemon, and collected 90 ribbons all the way to the highest level of competition in the series. A massive thank you to Timbit for allowing me to do this, and shout out to all the wonderful fans and creators that I met at Worlds. And thanks for watching.
Hi. Pokemon is infamous for its randomness. Wild Pokemon encounters, critical hits, overworld spinners, you name it. RNG is baked into every facet of the game. If you played 2 games of Pokemon the exact same way, you'd get 2 completely different results. But what if you played more than 2 games? Like, a lot more than 2 games. Like... So, 100 games at the same time. How is this gonna work? Ideally, I'd just run 100 games simultaneously, something like this. The problem is, if I did that, my computer would explode, and I would die. Instead, I'm gonna use something called a shuffler. Shufflers are programs that you can load a bunch of games into, but you only play one at a time. Then, after some time, it shuffles to a random other game that's loaded in the program. So here's the plan. I'm going to run 2 shufflers simultaneously, each holding 50 games of Pokemon Sapphire. The games will be running at 4 times speed, and about every 3 minutes, the games will shuffle to another random game. So even though all 100 games aren't in play every second, they always have a chance of being the next game up. So 50 games on the left and 50 games on the right. That is exactly 100 games. Or is it? Yeah, it is. That's how math works. But I'm actually playing one additional game. As these games are running and shuffling back and forth from each other, one game will receive all the inputs the entire time, but it's running in the background, so I have no idea what it's up to. I want to see if this game can accomplish literally anything. So stick around to the end of the video and we can all see how far this game makes it. With everything ready to go, I kick off the run with the first 2 randomly shuffled games. Because I have one controller paired to both games, I can use the same movements to advance the games at the same time. The very first portion of the game is the tutorial, and as we approach the tutorial's end, we hit that 3-minute mark. That means the games are shuffled and new games begin, where I have the absolute pleasure of doing the tutorial 98 more times. Yeah, the first 3 hours or so are just going to be going through this tutorial over and over and over and over and over again. So I begin the grind of Little Root Town, and every 3 minutes, the games reset and I get to do it again. After about a half an hour, something new happens. The shuffler on the left starts a new game like normal, but the shuffler on the right switches to a game I've already started. So now I'm trying to play 2 games with completely different movement. The tutorial again on the left, but brand new movement on the right. Being asynchronous is how 99% of this challenge will go. Very rarely will the games line up from here on out. This begs the question, how do you focus on 2 things at once? A question posed by ancient philosophers, clinical psychologists, and people who start a new TV show, but really they're just scrolling on Twitter the entire time. Oh. Couldn't get into Wheel of Time, huh? Were you watching it, or were you looking at cats with jobs? He's a mechanic. The answer is, you can't focus on 2 things at once. Not completely, at least. So I need some kind of system on where my main attention should be. The number one thing I need to consider are actions that are irreversible, meaning once I complete that action, I can't undo it. We have one of these within the first 3 minutes of every game. When you try to leave Little Root Town, you must make a selection on your starter Pokemon, a choice that you cannot reverse. Once you select that little dude, there's no going back. And if you pick the wrong starter, the consequences are catastrophic. The Mudkip line cruises through this game. It's basically the best starter of all time, ask any Pokemon player. Torchic and Trico would make the game so much more difficult that picking them would qualify as a disaster. So anytime one game approaches the starter selection, I have to focus on that game. Nothing happening in the other game can have repercussions as big as this. At least, not yet. So with this strategy in mind, I continue through the tutorial sections. Some games at the very beginning talking to everyone in Little Root, some games fighting the rival, and some games making it to Petalburg to talk to Dad. All of these sections include long stretches of dialogue where I can kinda mindlessly click A, but I actually don't mind that. Like, when I talk to Norman, I have roughly a solid minute where I can solely focus on the other game, but I'm still making progress. It's actually great. I'll say it. I love long stretches of dialogue. I'll start a fan club for it, I don't care. Just me and the Scarlet and Violet developers. With every game only on screen for 3 minutes, every second of meaningful progress is important. If I happen to run into Rich Boy Winston right before the Petalburg Woods, I get trapped in this needlessly long zigzagoon fight, where Winston uses a full restore at low health. This is a huge time waster, and sometimes I even lose, meaning I have to try to avoid him again, which I am bad at. And after 3 minutes, that game goes away, and I can't make any more progress until it randomly comes back up. With 50 games shuffling, it's like, see you in 3 hours, I guess. About an hour in, I shuffle to a game that's able to make it all the way to Rustboro. And because I need that sweet dopamine hit after jumping out of a truck 25 times, I pour all of my focus into the fight with Roxanne. I'm able to water gun my way to the very first gym badge. All right, we are over an hour, and we have a gym badge. One out of 100 gym badges done. Actually, 1 out of 800 gym badges done. But you know what? The first one's the hardest. Is not true, but it's fine. It's fine. The next few hours are a lot of the same. Every once in a while, we get shuffled to new games, but mostly I'm getting accustomed to everything I need to do before the first gym. By doing the same thing over and over and over, I'm creating a standard path of actions to complete. Go through the woods, go to the Pokemon Center, then go to the gym. This helps me get some muscle memory, requiring less thought
Got me messed up. All I see is we. I don't even know. Hello, how's it going?
You are going to jail.
Why? Why am I going to jail?
If you don't start walking, you're going to go to jail.
Why?
You have to leave.
For what? Go to jail for what?
Listen, I'm not playing this game. I'm telling you right now, if you don't leave, you're going to go to jail. They want you to leave their property. You're no longer welcome on Universal property. There is no reason why we're not going to play that game. They don't want to. They don't want to talk to you, so you guys have to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Don't talk like that.
If you don't go, you're going to go in handcuffs.
Okay, but don't talk like
Let's
that.
go.
Look. Okay, we paid for tickets and we just came in.
I already gave you guys the option for a refund. At that point, you ruined it. You need to leave.
Okay,
right,
no, we
so
want our money back.
Let's go.
We just paid it.
Okay.
I'll give you a phone number, but we're not stopping by guest services. At this point, you guys need to leave the property immediately.
I'm leaving. I just want my money.
Well, he's going to give you a phone number, and you're going to have to do it that way. You have to leave now.
Okay, give him the phone number.
He will.
As we walk,
Let's
you guys
go.
need to start walking towards the
I'm not walking.
Listen, they can follow you. Just walk. Just walk. Walk. You don't leave, you're going to jail. You understand that? If you don't leave,
Anybody in jail?
if you don't leave, you're going to go to jail.
Put anybody in jail?
Trespass after warning.
Right now it's going to be a verbal 59. Go ahead.
You have to keep walking.
No, I'm resting.
You're going to go to jail if you don't keep walking.
What are you talking about? Why are you putting me in
I'm
jail?
telling you again,
What are you
you've
talking
been
about?
listen to me. You've been trespassed. They want you to leave.
Okay.
If you do not leave, you go to jail. So go or you go to jail.
Oh, you put any.
So leave.
in jail?
We're going to put you in jail if you don't leave.
What's
So
the-
walk. Let's walk.
What's the-
Let's walk. Walk.
Talk in a
Walk.
better way, okay? The police is coming.
I am the police. You're going to go to jail when the other cop comes here then if you do not leave.
You're not all the police.
Look, I'm telling you guys.
Only one.
This isn't a joke. If you guys do not leave property, this is not your property. This is private property.
Your property.
I already told you.
It's not.
I'm in
It's not
charge
yours.
of who
It's
comes
not
here and who
yours.
does not. If you do not leave, you will go to jail. Do you guys understand that?
Start walking.
You guys need to walk.
Okay, we need
Why are you so nervous?
I'm not nervous. I'm telling you to walk before you go to jail. I'm trying to keep you two out of jail, but you're not understanding this. So you either go and start walking or you're going to go to jail. How many times do I have to tell you this?
Anybody in jail? Oh my god.
Yes.
Come on,
So keep going, guys.
Okay, so don't follow us, okay?
You guys need to
Okay,
leave.
just keep a
You guys-
distance, okay?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Walk.
Have your distance, but you need to keep walking.
I don't want to get.
Guys, let's go. We're not going to keep doing this. Guys, you have to leave now. If you don't leave, you're going to go to jail. Yes. I'm trying to keep you out of jail, and you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail. Go. Walk. Walk.
Because we didn't do anything.
Walk.
As he says, you guys need to leave. All right?
Just leaving.
Stop Not leaving.
Do you want to go to jail? Do you really want to go to jail? Let's go. Start walking.
Going over to dockside.
Are you going to continue walking?
Walk. You want to go to jail, really?
Training 10.
I'm trying to wait till they get there in case after 10:15. Let's go. You're not off their property.
You need to get in your vehicle.
No, you didn't. This is still their property. You have to leave everything.
Exactly where are they now? Because are they in a courtyard or? Kevin, we're in the Blue Man courtyard. We just came out of the side gate.
No.
You're under arrest.
No.
You are under arrest.
Okay, you left.
You are under
No, we
arrest.
left. Don't talk. No, don't.
Back up.
151 Alpha 109. Can you go to channel 6 for me? Sal, are you good?
No, I got one secure. I got the other one I can't secure right now. I'm with one. We're by Blue Man Group. Oscar 371. I have one 1015 and I need OPD hub. I don't have another pair of handcuffs.
No? Just go and I'll stay with him.
Put your hands behind your back. No, I don't have another.
Don't hold me like that. No.
You're under arrest.
No. Okay. No. Don't.
So cooperate.
Don't talk to me. Okay, but okay, but let him leave me.
No, you guys were told numerous
Let him
times.
leave me. Okay. Because I didn't do anything.
Where the hell is OPD hub?
I didn't do anything. Let him leave me.
I need another pair of cuffs.
He can't do that. I didn't do anything. Let him leave me.
What you need, Sal?
I got two 1015s.
I didn't do anything.
Watch your finger.
She's holding this other cuff. Here, you want to bring him that way and get him backside? Here, I go. Oh my God! I can't see. Oscar 371. I got two 1015s. I need a supervisor for spray. Move the mask! Move the mask! Move the mask! Move the mask!
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. We're not playing sorry anymore.
I'm sorry, man.
Sorry's done.
I'm leaving.
You're leaving in handcuffs now.
No, I'm leaving.
No, you're leaving in handcuffs.
I'm sorry, man.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
Stop resisting. Okay, please. My eye. I can't see.
I know that.
Okay,
It sucks. Trust me, I know. Keep going this way. We gotta get you some medical help. I'm sorry, man. Please don't.
Sit down. I can't sit down. Sit down.
I can't see.
Sit down.
I can't
Sit down.
Where?
I'm gonna get my car. It's right over there.
Do you have any knives on you or anything like that? No? You? Anything illegal that could hurt us? Any knives, anything like that in your purse? No? Okay.
We didn't do anything.
We're sorry, man. We're sorry. Hey, anybody pick up?
Don't say sorry. We didn't do anything. What the hell are you doing? You didn't do anything. I'm telling you, you didn't do anything.
Do you have identification on you? Ma'am, do you have identification on you?
What?
Do you have an ID?
Yes, with my sister.
Okay.
I can't see anything.
What did he do to his eyes?
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. You're not allowed to do that because we didn't do anything.
You just keep yelling. I don't understand. Calm down.
Right behind my bar.
You told us to leave. We left.
Okay, relax. Let me see if I could check these for you. And then the bags aren't helping either. Okay, relax. Yeah, see, I can get a
You're
finger.
not allowed to do that. We didn't
Do you want me to help you? I'm trying. I'm trying to help. You just keep yelling.
We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. What the hell are you doing?
Once again, at this time, and on the 10100 with a 7,000
You're going to jail. It's over.
I'm not going to jail.
Sit down. You are. It's over.
Stop. Stop. You're not going to jail. We didn't do anything.
Okay, you can say whatever you want.
That's pretty much all I need. Man, I can't do like this. Please, let us go.
You're not going, but this is health services if you want their assistance.
Okay, we are sorry.
Yep, you need to.
We left.
It's over. It's over. It's done.
What? We left. We didn't.
It's done.
We're still here. No, we left. Once you told us we left.
It's done.
Ma'am, do you have ID?
My sister. Can I call my sister?
No, do you have ID?
It's with my sister inside.
Okay, then. All right, your purse?
I don't have anything illegal.
I'm asking.
I came here to have fun only.
Were you pepper sprayed?
Yeah, it
Okay.
burns a lot.
I'm Sergeant Rivera. What I'm doing is investigating the whole interaction with the officer. Not anything with
Which officer?
the one that pepper sprayed you. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, he sprayed it. He told us to leave the park and we left.
Okay.
And once we left, they did all that. Start spraying at us, and when my brother fell on the floor and put these things in his hand, and then he came to me and did the same thing. That's what we didn't do anything. He told us to leave the park, and once he told us we left, I was just waiting for my sister.
Were you leaving the park or did you stop?
What?
Did you stop or were you leaving?
I stopped to wait for
Well,
my
hello,
sister.
whoever you are. You are commenting up a storm right now.
I told him that, and he told me you leave, and
It says Skibbity Toilet.
You're like your money back at the exit. Once we came to the exit, he did all of that. He didn't tell us anything of this.
Okay.
And we left, and we didn't even do anything inside.
All right. I don't know what happened inside.
Nothing happened, and he told us to leave. We left. I was just waiting for my sister. That's
Do you
why I
have
stopped.
any injuries?
Injuries?
Yeah. I mean, other than the spray, do you have any injuries? Like, was that the only thing they did? They sprayed you? Did they hit you? Anything like that?
Pushed me on the floor and put my brother on the floor.
Okay, do you have any injuries from that?
I think my body has, yeah. But I don't know where exactly. I don't know, yeah.
You don't know? Is there anything hurting right now?
Yeah, but my leg is hurting, my hand is hurting. I have never been in this situation before.
Okay. So he sprayed you guys. What else happened?
Yeah. What?
What else happened after you guys sprayed?
And then he pushed my brother on the floor on his face.
Did they tell you you were under arrest?
Hitting him.
Did they tell you were under arrest?
No.
No. You're under arrest.
No.
You're under arrest.
Okay. That happened suddenly. I didn't know why. Suddenly, once we were at the exit.
Okay. Anything else?
We didn't do anything. There was a little argument with one of the securities inside. And all of this happened.
Okay.
He screamed at us, and that's what happened. We told him, don't talk to us like that.
Well, still lucky you're going to jail.
My arm hurts. He didn't leave it. I think it's broken.
You think you broke your arm? My ass.
If you think. But if you're able to move around, do you need medical attention?
Oh, yeah, my face burns a lot.
So they haven't helped you medically?
No.
Okay. Well, they're going to give you medical attention. Anything you want to add on the... I'm not doing anything with the Universal. I'm here mainly for the spray and the arrest part.
Yeah, the spray was too much. My brother can't see. He can't even open his eyes.
That's what the spray does.
No, till now he can't open it.
Yeah,
till now.
it does that. It affects people differently.
Yeah, and he has our problems.
When I get it, I can't open my eyes for a couple hours.
Why does he do that?
Because he asked you to leave?
And we left.
All right, I will review the video and everything.
Exit, he did that.
Okay.
After both the male and female suspects are medically cleared, they are put in a squad car for their upcoming
Don't tell me she did what I think she about to do.
You have nothing illegal on you?
No, she getting canceled. She getting canceled. She getting canceled. She getting canceled.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Careful.
He's coming with me?
Yeah, or in a separate car or with you. I don't know which one yet. Put your seatbelt on. Excuse me.
Oh, why is so like...
It's just how they are.
Oh my God. I can't sit.
Excuse me.
I can't
You gotta put your back.
Yo, babe. This person really beef with.
This man is so rude. He won't come, right? This one is so bad.
He's the one arresting you.
Yeah, he's so bad.
He's the one being arresting you.
Here, turn around. Go butt first. There you go.
The sergeant now gets a statement from a park security worker who was involved in the incident.
Ask me anything.
How you going?
Go ahead.
So what happened?
So I came in. They were involved in an altercation over at in the Simpsons area.
Okay.
They were walking. They kept stopping. When I got there, they stopped on the way out towards the exit. Then when we got to the exit, they turned away from the exit. They tried to come to where we're standing now, and this is a crossover between the two parks.
Okay.
So it does not exit the park.
Yep.
Again, he's told you have to leave. He's saying something, it's almost like in a different language. He's just like blowing us off and waving his hand back. At that time, Officer Polisi advises him, listen, we've given you a lot of attempts. You are now under arrest.
Was Officer Polisi by himself or another officer was there?
At that time, he was by himself.
Okay.
He was by himself, and the rest of us were all universal security.
Okay.
At that point, he grabbed his left hand. He actively resisted.
Okay.
And was pulling away and pushing to not be placed under arrest. I don't recall him actually taking any kind of punches or anything, but he was resisting being arrested. Officer Polisi told him again he was under arrest. He pulled out his chemical agent and sprayed him with the chemical agent. And from what it appeared to me, you could tell that the female that was with it was trying to come behind Officer Polisi. He also sprayed her at that time, which kind of pushed her back. He took the gentleman into the bushes, put the handcuffs on him. Gentleman went down face first into the bushes. The female came running over as if she was going to go on to the cop Officer Polisi.
Yep.
I shoved her from being able to do so into the bushes.
Okay.
She remained sitting there. At that point, Officer Polisi got a handcuff on the male's right wrist. I held his elbow and wrist while he did that and was able to successfully get the left wrist cuffed at that point. I offered to stay there with him while Officer Polisi placed the other girl under arrest.
And then when did the other officers get there? Like later after they were both in handcuffs?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Both suspects were charged with trespassing after warning and resisting without violence. They are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Officers are holding the perimeter of
In a move that redefines the term employee discount, a Best Buy worker thought he found the ultimate cheat code: return fraud. His goal? To snag a PlayStation 5 without spending a dime. He probably pictured himself lounging at home with his new gadgets. Instead, he got a surprise upgrade to a shiny pair of handcuffs. Here's what happened next.
We have our pocket protection manager on a team call. He was doing the interview stuff, let me see. We have like a statement from him admitting it and everything.
Okay.
And we want to request a trespass for him as well.
So no criminal charges.
We are pressing charges.
Oh.
Yeah. It's what's the total? It's about, I can get the exact total, but it's like, no, we have to do cost. So it's like $1,300 to $1,400. I can give you the exact amount.
Okay. When was this done?
It was done in May 2nd. And then there was another one too. This was prior to that he admitted to, but he believes that there's more.
Does he know you're pressing charges?
I'm sorry?
Does he know that you're pressing charges?
Let me see. There was more here? Yeah, we'll talk in a second. Yeah. I'm texting him now.
Charlie 440.
10-4.
I'm gonna call him and get him on the phone.
Okay. Because there's different ways of pressing charges. It's filing charges or actually making an arrest. And where's the employee at?
He's in the room right now. Hello?
Hey, where you at?
Come all the way to the back left if you're facing the rear. Yeah.
Hey, Brian. Hey, can you hear me? Okay. I have the officer here. He just wanted to know, I guess he was saying there's different types of charges. Can I hand the phone to you to kind of discuss what you want to do? Okay. All right. This is Brian Zimmerman. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Zimmerman, this is Officer Robinson.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. So I just want to verify that we were pressing charges for the approximately $1,300 worth of merchandise that was taken,
Yes, yep, that is correct.
along with trespassing.
Yes.
Okay, so just be aware that he has to be notified that he's been terminated in the process as well. So as long as you guys have that, we can do the trespass, so that way he doesn't mistakenly come back.
Yep, they'll suspend him today because he'll be, they have to open up an HR.